We're here with Peter Woods, one of the big-time defensive linemen coming out of Clemson High School in Alabaster, Alabama, man. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Coach. You know, it's a blessing to be here. Thank you for having me on.
All right, cool, man. So look, you're one of many guys who have come out of this program over the past few years. I know your teammate, Tony Mitchell, who is an Alabama commit. What does that say to you being a Clemson High School warrior?
That name across our chest means so much to me. Just being born and raised almost in this program, has taught me a lot of things. Football can take you a lot of places besides just on the field. So I really appreciate this program for bringing me up that way. And that warriors across your chest mean a lot more than just being on the field knocking up heads. And that's what we kind of try to get across.
Now let's talk about you, right, as a person. So Peter, you said you're getting all this hype, which is definitely warranted.
Yeah,
but when did you fall in love with the game of football?
Man, fell in love with the game of football. My sister was a cheerleader. And I was about 2 years old. And she's 5, 6 years older than me. So I was like 2 years old out there just watching her cheer with the guys that were much older than me at the time. And I was like, dang, like I want to be like them one day. You know what I'm saying? So the coach used to bring me out there and try to get me out on the field. And I was too little, tried to get me out there with the boys. So eventually I came to when I was 5 and they took me out there and they signed me up. And I was bigger than everybody. I wasn't really the fastest, wasn't really the strongest. That all, came with time. But I knew I loved the game from 2 years old, the moment that I seen the guys out there doing it when my sister was out there. So that's really what got me.
That's big, man. So let me ask you this, starting off, I don't think at 2 years old you knew you were going to be a D lineman.
Nah.
What did you start off playing in this game?
Nah, so actually I played a lot of things. I played D-line, played some linebacker. I love headhunting. I couldn't touch no offense. Like, I had to go get the dude, you know what I'm saying? We hate quarterbacks. That's how I grew up, you know what I'm saying? I always hated quarterbacks. No offense to the person, but when I'm on that field, that's what it is. So yeah, that's my philosophy.
Man, hey, we all hate those red jerseys. Quarterbacks, I'll call them stop signs.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it means stop. Don't hit my quarterback. Good. What? Guess what? When that game day, baby, somebody getting split. I love it. All right. So now let's go ahead and talk about you. Like I said, we talk about this piece about you as a person. I know family is big for you. I know that your mom and dad, you're very close to them, and also your siblings. Talk to me about your relationship with your father.
My relationship with my father, my dad, he cares about everything that I care about and just makes my priorities his priorities. That's probably my favorite thing about him. Just a loving man. He makes sure that I have everything that I need, and that's the most important thing to me. Making sure I have everything that I need. He feeds into me spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything that you ask for a father. So he definitely fills that role better than I ever imagined. So yes, sir.
All right. And then speaking of your mom, right? I've had opportunities to speak with her, and I can tell she loves her baby, and I understand that, right? She got a big baby on her hand. He is a 6'4", 275-pound guy. Talk to me about your relationship with your mom and what that means to you.
Yeah, my mom, I'm always going to be my mama's baby. It don't matter how old I am. You know what I'm saying? I'll be 40 years old and she'll still be calling, checking on me, making sure I brush my teeth in the morning when I woke up. So it's just that type of relationship, you know what I'm saying? My mom, she's always going to look out for me, take care of me. I call her my momager sometimes because she takes on, like, I employ her. You know what I'm saying? I employ her. She does it for free, but I know she does it out of love. And so that just speaks a lot to just like who she is as a mom, but just a person, you know what I'm saying? So that's it.
Great. So let me ask you this, not to pit them against each other, but
yeah,
if you had to call somebody for advice, who is it, mom or dad?
Gosh, you got to be more specific than just advice because it varies. But initially, I would probably call on my mom for just probably more emotional advice. For my dad, if it's like maybe sport related. So yeah.
Now let's dive into your siblings.
Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 3.
3.
Yeah. 3.
And they're sisters and brothers?
Yeah.
How many?
So 1 and 2 girls and a boy. I got an honorary sibling. The DJ, Braxton. So yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. So what is it like growing up? Apparently they look up to you as a role model. What is your role in their life when they come to ask you questions?
Man, so I just start from the top. My older sister, you know, she's my mom number 2. You know, she tries to boss me around. She's done that from my young age to my big age now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's just out of love. I know that. You know what I'm saying? And me and my older sister are like best friends. We've been close for the longest. I just went to see her actually not too long ago, and we had a great time. You know, went to concerts. You know, spending time with the friends. So you know, we've just been that tight. She's about 5-6 years older than me, and you know, yeah, that's my bestie. I love her. So. My younger brother, man, we're 15 months apart, so that probably tells you all about us in itself. 15 months is not long at all, so we're practically twins in our acts, but we're a lot different. He's a lot more nonchalant, you know what I'm saying? Real old soul, old spirit. I'm a lot more outgoing, but you know what I'm saying? When it counts, we're together. So that's my best relationship with my brother. I spend the most time with him out of anybody. And my little sister, she's the diva, the princess Dylan, and she gets her way. She does, and she thinks she runs the house. So that helps when you run the house. You can probably get your way when you run the house. So that's her. So that's the.
So your brother that's 15 months apart, is he currently on the team as well?
No, he's not. He does his own thing. He's actually a part of a rodeo association. So he likes riding horses and roping calves and riding the bulls and all that. He's crazy good at it. Actually, a little backstory. My grandparents own a farm down about 30 minutes out of Tuscaloosa in Hale County. And so we kind of grew up. That's one of our lives that we kind of grew up on, and that's the one that he took to. So that was really cool for him to be able to, you know, just walk in was good for him.
All right, so on this farm, right?
Yeah.
On this farm, what is something that you really like to do when it comes to the farm or the real country lifestyle?
Well, I love to ride. Like, I've been riding since I was little. We both grew up riding together, and he just, like, started branching off and doing all this other stuff. But riding for me is fun. Like, I'll get out there and I'll try to race him. You know what I'm saying? That's about all I can do with him is ride, because he do all the other stuff, but I love to ride. That's it, riding the horse.
Yeah, man, that's interesting to find out.
Yes, sir.
All right, so speaking of your brother, like I say, he roping up calves out here, you racing them on horses.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw him in your commitment video playing the organ.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you playing the drums.
Yes, sir.
Right? Talk to us a little bit about that from a musical standpoint. Are you all musically inclined family?
We are. Growing up in the church, you know what I'm saying? That's something that we just kind of took to, you know, music and singing and all that other stuff. But yeah, my brother's probably the jack of all trades when it comes to that. And as far as plays the organ, he'll get on the saxophone. He's a beast on the saxophone. It's ridiculous to hear. Hey, but I'm just sticking with the percussion, and I'm doing my thing. My sister plays the piano, and she sings like an angel. My younger sister sings. My dad sings, and you know he's in his ministry. And my mom is our biggest cheerleader. She didn't get those genes, but she's there all the time. So
hold up, now you slipped something past me. Now you said we sing.
Yeah. Yes,
now
sir.
you named everybody else. You named your brother,
Mm-hmm.
your sister, your father, but can you sing?
I can sing, Coach.
No, can you sing or can you sing?
I can sing.
A difference.
I can sing.
Man, go ahead, hit me with a note.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. That's just the little
That
scale.
boy, that can sing, y'all.
I ain't do too much, just a little scale. But yeah, yes, sir.
You sound good, don't you agree? I love it, man. Boy, quarterbacks better watch out. Don't get sacked and sang to at the same time. I'm trying to tell you. So I made a lot of references to your commitment video, and I learned a lot through that video. I noticed in that video that there was a store where you guys were swag surfing, and it came up a lot. The Brown's Corner Store, if I'm not mistaken.
Brown Service Station. Yes,
Brown Service Station. What's the significance, and why was that so important, and why was that such a focal point in your commitment video to Clemson?
Well, Brown's is on the west side of Tuscaloosa, in the community that they call Shacktown, which is where a lot of my mom's family is from, and where she kind of grew up, and where my great grandma lives now. And so the owner of Brown's, Sean, who grew up with my mom and her brothers, and they all grew up together. You know, that I decided that I wanted to put a part of my upbringing, you know, into the video and just kind of go back to my roots. So that's where I got that from.
I got it. And that's important, right? Because a lot of times, you know, a lot of people do things, but they don't really pay homage to the neighborhoods in which they came up in. And you could tell it was a family atmosphere. I'm not sure if everybody was family.
Yeah, they were all family.
So everybody that was family to you.
Yes, sir. Those were all Can.
Oh, wow.
All
That's pretty
cancer.
good, man. That's pretty good. Well, guess what? That family not only can sing, they can swag surf
Yeah,
too.
you know it.
Huh?
You know it. Yes,
I
sir.
love it. It's clear right now, Peter, that family is important to you. What is it that you want people to know about you that they would find important?
I have, all these accolades that you may see and all these offers, and I was blessed to commit to an amazing institution and all this great family. But I just feel like I strongly believe in my heart that none of this would be possible without God. And, so I'm really strong in my faith and believe in that. And so I know that everything that I do, everything that I am goes through him. And I really respect that. So that's one thing about me that's just like my foundation. That's what I pride myself on.
The world knows who Peter Woods, the 5-star defensive lineman, is. The question is, how did that get started?
Man. So, a lot of people came through Thompson, got Amari Kites, you got the Tungvaloas, you got Jeremiah, who's at Alabama right now. So, the spotlight was over me, you know what I'm saying? I just had to show out. So that's what I did. I put myself to work, had a great support system around me, supporting me, making sure that I met all my goals, and they found me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened for me.
Before we talk about your on-field play, let's talk about your head coach, Mark Freeman, the gentleman who runs the Thompson Warriors. What is his impact in your career at Thompson High School?
Man, so Coach Freeman took a chance on me really young, brought me up as an 8th grader to play on varsity in the playoffs of my 8th grade year after my 8th grade season. So he took a great chance on me that I probably couldn't ask nobody to take on me, for myself, you know what I'm saying? So he believed in me before I even believed in myself and saw something special in me. And that just sparked something in our relationship. And anything that I ask for, anything that I need, he has it there for me at my disposal if he can, you know what I'm saying? So Coach Freeman, he's a great coach, great man of faith, you know what I'm saying? And that's what really drew me to Clemson was the way that Coach Freeman runs our program here. So there's a lot of similarities there.
Coach Freeman being the man he is, having you come in as an 8th grader, that means this will be your 5th year on the varsity football team. I mean, basically, you earned a star per year, huh?
Yeah, man.
How was it as an 8th grader, basically being 14 years old, playing with 18-year-old kids?
It was a curve. It was a growth curve. I didn't come in like I am now. Obviously, I was about 6'1", 200 pounds max. And, so I had a lot of work to do, but I wanted it. I wanted it really bad. So, like I said, the support system around me was crazy. So all I needed was to put my part in. God had the rest. My family, they did what they needed to do. Coaches. So I just had to do my part.
So what did Coach Freeman see in you to say, I'm going to bring this young man up from 8th grade to be on my varsity team?
I was a lot bigger than kids, in middle school and had a skill set that, I just pretty much taught myself, just coming from middle school. They just tell you to get out there and play almost, you know what I'm saying? So I had a little skill set, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, man, you can be developed. And I was all for it. I was all for the development and getting better and wanting to learn and soak up knowledge. And so I knew that would be something that was great for me.
So you bring up the word skill set. What do you mean by skill set? Talk to me.
I knew a little something. I thought I knew a little something. I look at myself now. I'm like, wow, he was trash. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely had a little skill set, little tools in my bags, whatever you want to call it, as far as D-line moves, D-line play, but nothing like I have now. So he just saw the potential in me, I guess, and decided to take a chance.
Speaking of skill sets, who put those tools in that tool bag for you? What coach helped you sharpen up your skills so you can use those deadly hands? As I put in my video, lethal weapons. His hands are lethal weapons.
I would credit Coach Briggs for that. Coach Briggs is that guy. He took what I thought I knew and developed it and maximized it to things that I probably never knew that I could do. And so that was another case of somebody taking a chance on me and believing in me before I could even believe in myself, and held me to a higher standard to where I probably wouldn't even hold myself most times. I just thought I was that, you know what I'm saying? So he really, kind of brought me down and was like, man, you got to prepare for this. I was like, Coach, you're right. So regardless of my competition, I'm always going to play up, you know what I'm saying? So that's a big thing that he instilled in me, is to never play down to my competition. Always do what's technically sound. Always do, full speed, 100%. That's something that he always tells me. So
as I've coached through the years, players never believe what a coach says until they actually see it work.
Yeah.
Is that something that you went through with Coach Briggs? Like he's telling you to use this technique. In the back of your mind, you're like, Coach, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Until it works.
Yeah. Well, it was really I would say that when we played Hewitt Trustful my sophomore year and I ended up getting injured. It was a season-ending injury. I didn't get to come back until the next spring. I broke my femur right here on my left leg, and the Hewitt Trustful game my sophomore year, and that was a really humbling experience for me, just knowing that there's things on film that I could have done better to prevent myself from being injured. So ever since then, I've been details. I got to get it. You know what I'm saying? And without that, I'd probably still be where I was. So, that I feel like that was a blessing in disguise, you know what I'm saying? And Coach Briggs really helped me with that.
You are a player who has had a lot of stability when it comes to high school from the coaching standpoint. Mm-hmm. What is one of the most memorable things so far in your high school career, because you still have another season to go, but what is one of the most memorable things that a coach has said to you that just, you can't shake it?
Wow, let me think on that one. So preparing this offseason, I've turned it up a whole nother level from last season. And that's just merely because Coach Briggs instilled in me. He was like, man, check this out. Like, you're already set in stone for high school. Now you're practicing and you're trying to get better and you're trying to develop yourself and go through the coaching for college. That's the next goal. You know what I'm saying? So other 5-stars who are going to other programs that you'll play against at those other programs. So that really humbled me and made me decide to put my head down and keep grinding, because I'm not playing senior football for my senior year. I'm playing senior football so I can get ahead of the curve and develop myself for the next years to come. And that's something that I plan on doing. So that really stuck with me this whole offseason and the way I've been grinding.
Now let's jump into this uniform and let's get on the grass. As I look at your film and I broke down your film in this WRE, one of the things I said was this young man will be an All-American barring injury. I see what you have from a skill set. I see what you do. I know what your biggest trait is, but do you know what your biggest trait is?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that my biggest trait as far as football, me personally, I feel like is my versatility. I feel like I bring a lot to the game as far as being able to move in different places and, not really be able to get mapped out. And, one thing that maybe you just maybe not notice from film is the mental aspect of the game is something that I really take a liking to. So that's 2 things for you.
I love it. And you're 100% right. But what steps off of me is your relentless pursuit to the football.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, man, that is the biggest thing. Can you get to the ball? And let me tell you something. That play where you ran the man down on the dive option, that right there, the number one play I've seen from a 275-pound guy. That's just, relentless pursuit to the ball, man. That's just want to.
Yes, sir.
And that right there is what makes Division I football players. You brought up your mental aspect of it. What makes you good mentally when it comes to this game? What is it that you see in the football field when you're in that 3-point stance that says, I know what he's going to do?
See, that's another thing, going back to Coach Briggs preparing me for college and not really my senior year, but using my senior year as a stepping stone so I can be ahead of the curve in college. In college, you got to know your opponent. So I study my opponent day in and day out leading up to a game, and that allows me to know, you know what I'm saying, if the back is flat to the left, man, they finna throw that thing, you know what I'm saying? So I always know how they their tendencies, I should say.
So you do those tendencies based on film studies, scouting reports. How was that?
Film studies, scouting reports. I dig deep. I like to go into players' Instagrams and different things, just, dig into their personal life as far as I can and just figure out, what's on your mind, what are you doing, your mannerisms on the field. Is that going to tell me what you're about to do? So I do all that, and you know what I'm saying? That's how deep I get. I get deep.
So I noticed when the play is over, you very animated, you fired up,
yes,
the
sir.
Juices are flowing. But are you talking a little bit of trash before the snap?
Always. Actually, I'll tell you some crazy story. I actually got flagged before. I've gotten flagged for talking before the snap. I don't know what that is. I didn't know that was a penalty, but it's happened to me before. So apparently it is a penalty. So, I've gotten flagged for talking before the snap. I haven't gotten flagged for talking after the snap. I'm mostly that's emotion, celebrating with my teammates. You know, we talk about that, but talking before the snap is outrageous. So yeah, that's one thing that I do have to work on in that aspect. But I feel like it brings the edge. You know what I'm saying? That's who you are. That's your identity. That's how you play. I say do it. So
lining up in front of guys week after week. Like I said, everybody knows who you are.
yes, sir.
Your opponent definitely knows who you are. Can you see and smell the fear when you line up across from them?
Most times, but some people, you know what I'm saying, you got to give it to them. You give it to them a few times, then they'll lay down. So you hit them in your mouth. That first play is monumental for me. That first play is so important for me. You come off the ball, you hit them in their mouth, they don't want no more. You know what I'm saying? You make them like it. Either they gonna want it or they not gonna want it. Either way, it's gonna be bad. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I pride myself in, is using that first play to the best of my ability.
So you talk about giving a player one. Well, let's talk about the crosstown rival, Hoover. Everybody knows the name Hoover across the country. They've had documentaries about them. They've had stories. They got, big time coaches come out of there. Talk to me about Hoover. What does it feel like when it's game week against them?
So Hoover, playing Hoover, when I came up as an 8th grader, I've only lost to Hoover one time in my whole time ever playing Thompson football. So as far as that rivalry and just saying who's on top, it's us. So it's not really too much to say about that part. But as far as the Hoover rivalry, you know what I'm saying, a lot of Hoover's really close, maybe 20 minutes away from us. So a lot of us, grew up friends, grew up playing youth ball together. So the rivalries get emotional, fans, you know what I'm saying. One time, baby powder out on the field. It's a crazy rivalry. It's almost like you can relate it almost to a lower tier college rivalry. So it's nice. It's nice.
So you see these defensive linemen out here today, right? Everybody wants to get the single digit or maybe the very low teen numbers, right? As I watch your film, I see you pop off with number 11.
Yeah.
What is the significance of number 11, and why did you have to have that number?
So funny story, my number was originally number 35. And when I came in as an 8th grader, a senior linebacker had the number 35. So I was like, Coach, let me get number 35. He was like, nah, so we're going to give you 56. You remind me of LT, so we're going to make you 56. So I was like, okay, I'll do 56 for a year. And after my freshman year, and that's really when I kind of popped on the scene, and I had a talk with one of the dads, whose name I can't call right now, just off the top of my head. I had a talk with one of the dads, and he was just talking to me. He was just saying, like, man, like, I've never seen anybody play like you. You're unique. And then he hit me with you're one of one. So that spoke to me, you know what I'm saying? So I started looking it up, one of one, uniqueness, a whole bunch. And I was like, oh my gosh, like number 11, I get the sticks and I'm one of one, you know what I'm saying? So I put all that together. So that's what that number means to me. Just being number 11 just means uniqueness, being your own person. And that's just kind of what I want to bring to the game. I want to bring something that nobody else brings to the game, if that makes sense. So that's why number 11 is unique to me. So.
One of one. And my brother, I have to say that's what you are. One of one. You're a high school football player. You see other guys before you go off to college. Big time schools, big time players coming out of Thompson High School. You're an 8th grader getting your opportunity now to play at the varsity level. When does recruiting start for you, and when is the first offer given?
So recruiting started for me the spring after my 8th grade year, about May, April, right in there is when I got my first offer. I was actually on the field stretching, and Coach Freeman comes and taps me on my shoulder. He's like, hey, Peter, Indiana just offered you. So that was my first offer, and shortly after that, I got Tennessee and UAB, and the rest is history. But that's how recruiting started for me. So
Indiana comes out of the Big Ten and says, I'm finna get a big-time defensive lineman that's in the 8th grade.
Yes, sir.
How did you feel about that?
Really, I just couldn't wait to get home and tell my people. That was the main part. That's something that I dreamed about as a little kid. I didn't really know it was going to be me. I was just going to grind until it was, So that was one thing that was big for me.
So now the floodgates started to open. As you said, Indiana offers you, then Tennessee, UAB. How many offers did you have overall?
Overall, I had 54 offers total, somewhere roughly.
Recruiting gets hectic at times,
yes,
especially starting as early as you did in 8th grade. Now heading towards your senior year, and you've made your commitment now to Clemson. How bad was it?
Recruiting recruiting got hectic after September 1st when they could start calling me. At first, I was like, man, I can't wait till September 1st. You know, September 1st was a big date for my class, getting ready to talk to coaches and allowing coaches to call you. And then as soon as September 4th or 5th came, I was like, can we rewind? Because I ain't want nothing to do with that. So it was fun. It was fun for the first few days, you know, being able to talk to coaches. Hey, Coach Saban calling me. Hey, Coach Signee calling me. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Just talking with your friends. But after a few days, I was sick of it. I was tired of it. Somebody told me to get a new phone, and I almost did. I almost changed my number.
As the good book says, be careful what you ask for because he'll give it to you.
That's true.
You asked for it, he gave it to you. And he gave it to you in abundance.
Yes, sir.
And you said, I don't want it anymore.
No, none of that.
But it is a blessing, as you said. It's a blessing
For
to
sure.
have these opportunities, to have your opportunity to pick the college you want to go to instead of the college picking you.
Yes, sir.
Speaking about coaches, I know you dropped your top 4 in there. I want to speak about the elephant in the room a little bit. I want to speak about Jackson State making a finalist in your top 4. How did that come about when knowing everybody knows you had Alabama, Florida, Clemson as well? What happened with that process in order for you to get Jackson State there?
You know, I just believed in Coach Prime. I believed in his vision for the program. I believed in the HBCU culture. You know, that's why they say I believe. You know, it's easy to believe in. So just talking to Coach Prime, understanding his vision for the program, I felt like that was something that I could gel into. It didn't work out that way, but I feel like I ultimately made the best decision for myself in the end.
So after Jackson State, you have big-time Florida. New head coach Billy Napier comes in. He's hitting the recruiting trail hard. How does he get your attention to say, Coach, you're in my Final Four?
So as soon as Coach Napier and the staff got there, they immediately all started blowing my phone up. And I was like, wow, like Florida, you know, they just got there and they're already blowing me up. So they really had great interest. Florida was already one of my top schools just because of their reputation and, you know, their reputation precedes itself. So knowing that what Florida can do on the field and what they can do for me off the field. I want to major in sports communications in college, and, you know, they have a long list of sports communicators, Tim Tebow, Laura Rutledge, the list goes on. So that would have been a big educational move for me.
Yeah, that is a big deal, right? Because going to swim in the swamp ain't easy, man.
Yeah,
the SEC country. Speaking of SEC country, the GOAT, arguably the greatest of all time when it comes to head coach college football, in Nick Saban calls. Alabama has the reputation. They have the championships. They have the rings to prove it. What is it like talking to him, and what is his approach when it comes to recruiting?
You know, Coach Saban, you know, they don't really have much of an approach. Their reputation precedes itself, you know. Most of it for them is, you know, forming relationships and building great trust and just showing you how they're going to coach you up, showing you players hands-on doing stuff. So I can really appreciate that from a program like that, just being able to spend time with them. And they were one of the first schools to start recruiting me. They were like my 7th or 8th offer. So we had a great relationship, you know, with the staff. Coach Roach got there about my freshman year. It wasn't the first D-line coach to recruit me there. It was actually Coach Brian Banks. Mm-hmm. But Coach Roach got there during my freshman year. I've been knowing Coach Saban for a long time. Coach Carl Scott, who is now at the Seahawks, was my area recruiter. So, you know, they had a little staff shakeup, but for the main part, Coach Saban has been consistent in recruiting me. And so, yeah, I appreciate that from them.
Being here in Alabaster, Alabama, which is approximately 45 minutes from Tuscaloosa, had to be a hard deal to say no to. Yeah. I mean, this is a program that's established, that's been around for quite some time, national champions, the greatest coach of all time. Your teammate, Tony Mitchell, is going there.
Yeah.
They got some dogs, man. How do you say no?
Well, you know, I just had to look at the reasons that I was going to school. And I felt like at the other place, about 4 hours down the road in Clemson, South Carolina, they had everything that I needed for me to be successful as far as being a great man, a great athlete, a great student, you know, just all around the world. So I felt like that was best for me and the person that I aspired to become. Just no knock at Alabama and the things that they've done. They've done great things. But for me personally, as a person, I feel like I made a great decision.
And that decision is Clemson.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows Coach Dabo Swinney, the head coach there, has won national championships. What is his approach to recruiting when it came to you as a defensive lineman, especially right up here, in Alabama country.
Yes, sir. Well, they didn't really have much of a pitch. Everything from them felt genuine as far as, spending time and allowing us to go to his house on the OV and just spend time there. And he has so much for us to do and just really cares about his players and spends a lot of one-on-one time with his players. And I feel like for Clemson, a big thing is he has it set up to where everything that you need as a player to be successful, they've got it for you, whether it's you want to go into NIL things and they have a whole building dedicated to that, or Paul Journey for the ambassadors that want to be great leaders, and they have a crazy academic support system. It's crazy up there. So,
talking about coaches, one of the biggest things now that's been a question mark for Clemson is the longtime defensive coordinator Brett Venables leaving, now becoming the new head coach at Oklahoma. Did that weigh on you at all, being a defensive player, that the staple of the defense leaves and goes somewhere else?
It did at first. I really kind of wavered on what I was going to do, where I was going to go when Coach V left and Coach Bates left and Coach Chavis left. But when they brought Coach Eason in, and I had a previous relationship with him from Auburn, and when they brought him in and I got to be around him a lot and my family and just see him in his home environment, because that's where he went to school. It was great. It was like a family reunion, and we didn't even know each other like that. You know what I'm saying? So I just knew that was home. Once I went a few times and got him in his element. So not at Auburn, wrong Tigers.
I love it, man. Hey, I get it. I totally understand. So with that being said, now he comes in. He forms this relationship, like you said, you kick it off right away. There's another guy in that room also. His name is Tyler Davis.
Yeah.
He's number 13.
TD is a goofball. He's probably the goofball of the group. He's known as the jet ski guy around there because he loved being out on the water. So that's one thing about TD. Tyler Davis, I told him first time I met him, he looked like one of my cousins. He does. So he's like family to me, like a big bro, and he gives me so much great advice just as far as school life and academics and just knowing who to talk to and who to be around and just how to handle college. So I really appreciate him for that.
All right, quickly, you brought up NIL deals, and they have a dedicated building for that. How has the NIL deals affected you in the recruiting process or going forward?
Personally, for the recruiting process, it didn't affect me at all. I made my decision solely off of, what my family wanted for me, what God wanted for me, and what I wanted for myself. And it was just that simple as far as what I felt like I needed. So recruiting-wise, it had nothing to do with NIL. But when I play, if I produce, I get money. And that's just the way that I see it. They're allowing you to get money. I'm not chasing no dollars. I'm going to do what I have to do on the field and in the classroom, and it's going to come. That's the way I look at it.
The dance floor, the way you moving got me watching, got me wanting more. That's right. I'm trying to hold back, don't wanna lose control, cause you don't it all back, and I gotta take a step back, cause you're so fine.